Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. It's Lane here with MetaShackle. I just wanted to do a quick update here on XRP really quick, as we are starting to see the prices kind of fold back down at this point. We did form what could be a potential bearish breaker block right here on the 2-hour chart up here, which you can see right here, which could act as resistance if we get rejected off of this area at some point. But taking a look at the hourly chart, you can see that we do have this bearish SIBI right here on the 1-hour chart. Price came up, traded back into this, was rejected twice, and has fallen back down to the lower areas. And it looks like it's taken a draw on liquidity right here in this area. Now, if you take a fib from these highs up here down to this low here going off of the candle bodies, that gives us these Fibonacci retracement levels right in this area. So there is a good chance that this could hold and we could see this break back up and take another shot at this bearish SIBI right here at some point. But keep in mind that we are heading into the weekend, and that could spell trouble if this downward momentum continues. But at the same time, if we do start to recover on this, we could potentially see an inverted head and shoulders form right here if price breaks back up through this bearish SIBI right here, which essentially could give us the momentum if we had enough volume to start moving back to the upside. When you look at this pattern here, how we came up, fell back down to these lower levels, when you look at other patterns that are similar to this, where we moved up, hit these new highs, we did fall back down to some lower levels here and then swiftly recover. So there is a chance that we could see something similar there, and you'll notice the similarity between those two patterns. But there is also a chance heading into the weekend where the volume's low and the trading's likely going to be low, that if the market makers and the powers that be really decide to put the clamp down and they want to put the hurt on people, then they very well could use that weekend environment as a way to bring the prices down even lower, which could bring even more pain. But when looking at the daily chart from last night, when this drop occurred, as I've talked about in some of my previous videos, I like to watch the 18-day moving average, which is represented by this yellow line right here. Price actually came right back down, dumped right into that 18-day average, and gave it a nice little bounce that we've seen today. That doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to hold, but at least we are starting to see some resistance right in this area here. And if we turn on the Bollinger Bands, you can see that we are starting to ball up a little bit here on the daily chart, which means these are likely going to continue to tighten here, moving up here, giving us something similar to what we saw in this area here, perhaps even here. But generally when those bands start to tighten up and build pressure, we'll get a big move in one direction or the other. So one thing that you'll want to watch on this daily chart as we progress throughout the next couple weeks is how these Bollinger Bands react and how much they continue to tighten. What I'd really like to see here is, regardless of where the price goes, is I'd like to see those bands tighten up really nice, really snug around the current price. But as I mentioned in a previous video, there still is the chance on the table that price could come back down here and retest this breakout trend line right here. If price falls through this 18-day moving average, I would expect this bullish BISI right here to be our next line of defense at around that $2.50 range. That's, of course, assuming if things start to get really ugly. But it's not uncommon to see price retest these breakout trend lines. This is perfectly normal and a perfectly healthy part of price action. Although for anybody who chased this move up here, it could get seriously painful. But when you dial in on the 1 hour, you can see this price channel right here. Price came up through this channel, and when it fell through here yesterday, another bad sign that we see is price was rejected off of this trend line. So between getting rejected off of this bearish SIBI here, which is a bearish fair value gap if you're not aware, coupled with the combination of getting rejected off of this trend line, it's kind of at a coin flip. We could see this form, that inverted head and shoulders, and move to higher levels if it can get through this potential breaker block right here, which may not be very easy. We could even see something where we get rejected off of that area, then we start to decline further. But there's quite a few different ways that this could go, especially heading into the weekend. So that's essentially what I would look out for. Is price going to fall through here? Or is this area going to hold around these fib levels? If price comes back up here and starts to form the inverted head and shoulders pattern, are we going to get through this upper trend line and through this first bearish SIBI right here in the red? If we do get above this trend line, get through that SIBI, can we now get through this potential breaker block right here? Because if we can knock these out and start moving to the upside again, there's a very good chance that we could come up here and take out this previous all-time high and move back into price discovery. But if any of these targets right here reject price, things could get ugly really quickly. And if we take out this previous low right here, there's a very good chance that we could come down to this bullish order block around that 250 range. So that's essentially what I'd be looking out for here moving forward. Keep an eye on things into the weekend. But overall, it looks to me like we're going to get a move up here and at least take a shot at busting through this right here. We're starting to see the 18-day moving average on the 1-hour chart trend back up. As it sits right now, we've got the 50 on top of that and the 200 on top of that. So what we want to see is the 18 get through the 50. Then we want to see it get through the 200. We want to see a bullish setup form where we got price on top, the 18 below it, the 50 moving average under that with the 200 on the bottom. Now that would be preferable, but that's going to take some time assuming that that occurs. So for the time being with XRP, keep your eyes on this area here and keep your eyes on moving up here and potentially forming this inverted head and shoulders. So I hope all of you are doing well. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. You have yourselves a great day.